Chris wanted me to give this to you about the Historical Society.
Oh, thank
And
you.
he said you probably know that he,
Yeah.
yeah, but my email's on there.
What?
So
Oh,
if
thank you.
you,
Just sitting there, I was a
you
look
can
at it.
send us every.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Jill, can you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Rachel,
Here.
Laura Greenlee-Kirk. Yep. Larry Anson.
Here.
Heather Haas. Ingrid Kohler. Here. Sue Springborn. Here. Nancy Thorson. Here. Sarah Zaragoza. Arthur Alvarez.
Here.
And Tim Cole.
Here.
Jill Oxford. Here.
Thank you. We have a forum. I'd first like to welcome you, Jill. Look forward to working with you.
Or welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You're great working with you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, I gotta get used to this thing.
Maybe
Thank you for everybody for having your mask on, and everything. All right.
Wait, the finger in the face.
All right. Motion to adopt the agenda.
I make a motion.
Laura makes a motion. Second. Ingrid seconds. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Approval of the minutes, December. Make a motion, please.
I'd like to add a correction before the minutes are approved.
Okay.
It had me on it via Zoom, I was present.
Okay.
And it had Sarah as absent, but I think she was on via Zoom.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So noted.
Because she was texting me the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
We are gonna talk about that too.
That's
Oh, yeah.
new, so can we just approve them with the corrections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we'll,
Okay, I make a motion to approve
with.
last week's minutes with corrections.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Public, anybody from the public speaking? Jim, I'll give you 5 minutes, make a presentation.
Jim Stella Show, 2590 Diane Street, North St. Paul. And I probably would be taking in more of your meetings, but I also have a commitment on Wednesday night, but tonight it was canceled, so there you go. So in the past, I'm kind of an unofficial spokesperson for the Friends of Casey Lake. And I think, as all of us in the room are concerned with, it's kind of like a pristine jewel of North St. Paul. And it has issues down there with, it has cattail problems, it has sediment issues, there's odors that's coming off of that is a bad thing for the people who live adjacent to the lake and on the lake. And so we were trying to take some proactive moves here to get some of that corrected. The thing that was put out here in the weekly newsletter at North St. Paul was public input for the municipal stormwater sewer system, MS4, and the stormwater pollution prevention plan, which is SWPPP. Okay, so I wrote in and Elaine did, and I don't know if anybody else in the committee wrote in. And we got a response from Ron Ritchie, and it says that that because of this, they are going to take a very serious look at the sediment. For any of you that have been down there, if you look at the where the stormwater comes in off of 17 and or off on by Shawnee, that's on the south side, and the Shawnee on the east side. I can't speak that well to what's on the north side, but just the two that I mentioned, if you look there, there is sediment piled up probably in the neighborhood of this thing. So in other words, over time, all the washing from the streets and gravel and everything else has come in and it hasn't been removed. Now city did take a little bitty stab at it last spring, and just on this 17th side, and dug a little channel to allow it to get into the lake a little bit quicker. But of course, this is what happens with the sediment is the sediment comes in, makes the lake shallower than it already is. And of course, then that promotes cattail growth and other bad stuff. It has been determined, by the way, that the cattails are an invasive variety. So that's one thing that should also be considered. So I think Councilman Cole had said last year sometime, was late in the year, that we were going to have a get together and try to discuss these issues with some of the main stakeholders and put all the issues out on the table to see what can be done or what could be done about correcting some of these problems. So with that, I think that's about all I have to say. There will be, I should sum up by saying that Ron Ritchie wrote back in response to Elaine and I don't know, like I said, other people didn't tell me, that they will at the first part of the spring go and inspect those areas and do an evaluation as to, how much sediment there, what can be done about it, et cetera, et cetera. So there is action started, but like I said, the issues are bigger than just sediment too. According to people that actually live on the lake, I'm about a half a block off, but walk it frequently like a lot of us do. One other thing, leaving the water things behind, I would encourage everybody to walk the path, especially as I brought this up last year to this group, the commission, that the west side of the lake, there's a lot of tree roots in the path, and there's a lot of rises there. You walk it, it's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches high and more than several places, which means that the city somewhere along the lake should get some funds together, cut those roots out of there and pave that again before somebody breaks their neck with their roller blades or whatever. So it's becoming an issue that we just, I don't think should ignore too much longer. I don't know if it means the entire path should be, but at least that section should be attended to. And then it's about it. Questions?
Questions?
Just one quick follow-up, Jim. I know that staff has had multiple meetings with all of the different groups. They had a meeting in December, and I think that there was another one early on, right after the first of the year, like a week or so ago. In hopes of gathering everybody together for that community meeting. So I'll follow back up and
we're on standby.
and see where it comes. I haven't been involved in the meetings, but I do know they have been taking place.
Okay, good.
And Jill, just so you know, Carrie's been running that internally.
And there was also some talk also that there is state funds available, depending on what's determined, how much money is involved, how big the scope is, and there are state funds available possibly to take care of some of these issues. And I don't have those, I don't want to bore you with that detail.
The path repair thing, is that our thing or is that the city or? When you're saying the
That'd be
path has
city.
the.
I think it's the
stuff.
gray area between both of us. We were, I don't know,
Maintenance.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm not an expert in that. What I understand is that the state really has the overall, the watershed district, the overall responsibility for what they do is the city says, okay, wait a minute, we're gonna take out this permit, and the state assumes that the city will take care of these things. And that's why they issue the permit, and that's why they ask for citizen input to say, is the city living up to the requirements of the permit? Should we renew it? And that's me talking, I'm not an expert, like I said, but that's kind of the idea that I get. Right? The city has to prove that they're doing, living up to the requirements of the permit.
He was actually asking about the path.
The part I-
Oh, I'm
The-
sorry.
Yeah,
the-
the water part, I'm assuming that's a bigger than just us.
Yeah, but,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a big, that's big.
The path is,
but yeah, the path is in that, probably in that gray area between.
we can ask, I mean, we can
Yeah.
definitely ask,
Mm-hmm.
and bring it to Ron's attention.
And it's kind of just that section. by
That's the
woods
worst.
there.
That's the worst.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because the path on the other side is in really good shape.
Pretty good shape. And they're doing, by the way, they're doing an excellent job taking care of it this year too.
Mhm.
Not only are they brushing it and they're plowing it, but they're putting down salt or something is melting it when the weather gets warm, gets a little bit warmer, but it's because we walk it on a regular basis, as do many people.
thank you.
Yeah,
You're
thanks for all your help.
Thanks.
Anything else for Jim? Jill, is there anything that in that letter that may help you do your notes with, you did on the notes?
Do you have paperwork that I can help?
Or email to her,
To do what, I'm sorry.
just so
to
she
make
can,
notes and.
just for her notes for the meeting that you presented?
Or you want my email address? or something?
No,
The
paperwork.
that you're
Oh,
holding,
this.
can you email that to her?
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, you have my email.
I'll scan it and send it across if you want.
yeah, and then in the future, when you come, Jim, just make an extra copy. And then we can just give it to Jill. She can put them in the minutes.
Okay.
Anything else for Jim? Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
You're welcome to hang out.
Well,
Anybody else from the public on Zoom? Jill?
I'm gonna check. That's just me.
No one's watching our meeting?
Sarah's gonna try to slouch now.
You get some.
Not gonna worry about my posture. Nobody else from the public.
We're good?
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
All right, public hearings, anything?
No.
No. Election of officers, I'm opening up the election of officers.
Don't we usually just go? Let's just keep.
Make a motion.
I don't know what people want to do. I don't know.
Would anyone like to be an officer?
No. Would everyone who's currently an officer like to remain in the same?
You content where you're at, Laura?
Yep, I'm good.
I'm
Cool.
content where I'm at.
I'll make a motion that we just keep things the same.
Okay,
How do I? Phrase it that way? I think.
Lloyd,
Lazy.
chair and Laura vice
Yes,
chair, how's
I
that?
make a motion that we retain the leadership as is with Laura Grayson as chair and Laura as vice chair.
You're good with that, Laura?
Yep.
Okay, second,
I'm second.
discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so
Thanks for all.
I got an email from Jill. Is this where we can pull this up, Jill, and give a second? Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. let me touch
Yep, finish the notes.
this.
I'm gonna wait, once you pull it up, we'll get a little more detailed. Attendance requirements. This came to my attention. And I will read it, but basically it states that the chairperson is responsible to
Is it on the
determine
Google?
whether an absent is acceptable, and after failure to attend no less than
Right there,
half of the official meetings within a given calendar without excuse of the chairperson shall be considered as formal notice of resignation.
I wasn't listening. Can you-
Sure.
Sorry, just helping me. There we
I
go.
was helping you.
Duly appointed members of the boards and commissions shall be required to attend no less than half the official meetings of the board or commission held within a given calendar year, unless specifically excused by the chair of such board or commission. And said excused absence is noted in the minutes. Failure to attend no less than half of the meetings in a given year without excuse of chairperson shall be considered as formal resignation. In addition, failure to attend 4 consecutive regular meetings without excuse of the chairperson shall be considered as formal notice of resignation from this board or commission. I throw this out to you. Is Jill and I had talked about this, and she has a list of at each meeting what the reasoning is for each app. I throw this out to you that we as a group take that decision at the meeting and make it as a running agenda item each month, and if we don't have to deal with it, we don't deal with it. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm not understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand what you mean.
Okay. Instead of me making the decision all the time, we throw it on the agenda every month, and if we have absences, I ask you guys, do you think this is an excused absence?
And we vote on it or we?
Yeah, we agree on it. Yeah, we can vote on it, we agree on it.
I thought, I mean, I'm incorrect here, but I thought that, I don't like the idea that I have to explain myself to why I'm absent.
You know,
That
in my
shouldn't
world,
be
you're either
my,
there or you're not, you just call
yeah, we shouldn't be able to decide
Well, it's
whether.
not a,
Excused absence to me is that you call and said, I'm sorry, I can't be there. Okay, you're excused.
Okay. Then
So as long as they send me an email prior to the meeting.
this is bigger than just here. This is all the commissions and committees and authority to gather up. I know it was at the last council meeting, it was discussed. we kind of tabled. So, and I believe what you just read is a state statute, not a city,
Okay.
because we're a commission. Because it's a commission, it falls under the state guidance. But I know this much, and that's nowhere near enough to know. So I would say let's wait till our city manager can weigh in
Okay.
on this a little bit deeper, but I don't even know if we truly kept track. I saw the list with all the commissions and committees and the absentees, and I think we had one or two people in here had two. So we
Yeah,
aren't
it's
anywhere
none.
near in violation of any of what's there.
So let's say
Um,
someone is in violation.
Can say, that's not correct. We've had council members who haven't attended in five,
But we're not dealing with 5 years ago, we're dealing with.
No, no,
I'm
she
saying
going
five
forward.
consecutive
Yeah,
sessions
yeah.
from today. We have had council members who have not attended.
The worst I saw, though, I only saw somebody that's two.
Where I was shown, I didn't see that, and I wondered then if it was accurately.
I guess it comes down to what's excused and what's not, but,
Yeah.
But I think with, starting from January, I'm just doing this year, with some guidance on excused, not excused, and traffic. And I think they will have me, putting on there who's here and who's absent on a monthly basis.
Okay,
And-
so how are we determining if it's excused or unexcused?
we're not, is what we disagreed on, right?
I think if someone
If
calls
someone
ahead
calls in and says,
and says, I won't be there.
We're
that's an
accepting that
excuse.
as an excused absence.
We need clarity from city manager, what is acceptable and what
Yeah.
isn't. That's,
Okay.
that's not a park and rec decision, guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just to
Good.
keep things moving forward. Jill, keep doing attendance the way you do. Keep note of who notifies and who doesn't. I think this serves more of a notification to the commission that it is now being, it is volunteer group, guys. We all get it. Everybody's busy, everybody's got stuff to do. They just want to make sure that if you're on it, the effort goes forth. And there's not a soul in the field with that.
exactly. We got
So-
COVID issues going on.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Well, and I have seen it, what on the environmental commission, it was a huge issue, because we had one person that just could not understand that she needed to come to the meetings, and so she'd show up periodically, but and Deborah kept talking to her, but she didn't get it, that, you know, it was very hard to say, you can't be on it anymore, you know, and so it can be a terrible issue.
So we need clarification as to what the person needs to say. I'm not gonna be at the
I'm
meeting.
not 100% sure if we're not talking about that tomorrow at the council retreat.
Okay.
I know the city attorney is gonna be there, so,
Find out what they want,
yeah.
what they need to tell Jill.
I'll bring it up, there's,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not coming in because I'm sick, okay? I'm not coming in because I have business. I got that, I'm coming in, whatever.
I'm not gonna,
Right,
Yeah, nobody's.
not
It's just a
available.
no call, no show. That's,
There you go.
that's
Yeah.
unexcused.
Yeah.
Unexcused is no call, no
Okay.
show.
And we're just gonna get some clarity on it moving forward.
Sure. Okay.
Council.
I'll keep moving then. Thank you, everybody. Now you know why I didn't want to be left in the one. I would rather have us as a group concur on what we're gonna do then. All right,
Yeah, stop there.
review planning commission recommendations for park improvement plan. Candace? You want to start? Or do you want, or Jill, do you want to read something first?
Yep. So what I received was, from the planning commission, a few documents. Sort of one from Elaine that was higher level. One that has some more specifics, and then I went through their meeting minutes and marked it by page. And I tried to match things up so we could just see what she commented on and see if we want to agree
You
with
want to go
her.
through that first and then we'll have Candace and Jill at
Yeah.
work? Okay,
All right, let's see if I can find this one.
because as I understand that the ultimate decision is this commission, correct?
And well,
As far as the,
well, Jill's looking that up. I just wanna, on behalf of the Park and Rec, I wanna thank the planning commission for going through the plan. Elaine's awesome. She finds everything and anything. So I appreciate her dedication. She did pull out a lot of inconsistencies between multiple multiple reports within the city. I think that's awesome. I don't know if that falls on city and staff. I don't know if that falls on WSD. But somebody's got to be together and making sure that we're putting out a document that, well, they could all be wrong, but at least they're consistently wrong. I mean.
No, it was a good checks and balance. I think the planning commission did a good job.
Yeah, so I just want to thank the planning commission for everything they did. And to your point, Lloyd, some of the decisions are great. And some of the decisions the committee needs to take a look at, but I don't necessarily know, some of them were more suggestions than anything, so it's kind of back in your court. I don't know, you may know more than I do how tied they are together, but I know that if one of the founding documents states one thing and we're the opposite polar direction, we probably need to go.
And I think we all know that if it's gonna be a major project, I don't know if the playground would be a major project, but if it's gonna be a major project, ultimately the planning commission is gonna have their say, regardless of what we have in our comprehensive plan. The planning commission is gonna be the one that make the final decision as to whether we can move forward. Look like Casey Lake. We have to go through all those hoops. At least it's a start. Did she make many changes? Did it go, maybe we can just hit those?
Yeah, so what I did, there were a few different park classifications, which I ran over, so they're on the webpage. And then there were a few that were just missing, so do we just want to kind of give a thumbs up, thumbs down, I mean, to include these into the plan?
Will still puzzle me because I asked Terry about that because this is supposed to be Central Park right here. I would like to know who named that and when.
Hey, we have a treat.
That was Central Park, yeah, that was Central Park. That little strip bit of land over there, I don't know, and so I think it's a puzzlement. I don't know why.
It's coming up with the-
Yeah.
It's noted as a park. It's noted over here. It's about that big. And there used to be a bench there, I think, but that was the extent of
Well,
it.
there's a bus bench.
Yep.
There's a round, we called it the round garden.
Yep.
Mostly called it.
So that's a good call out. The Environmental Learning Center, I think we've had conversation in here before. That's the target pond, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It doesn't fall under the parks that I'm aware of.
We took that off, the urban ecology.
Yeah.
I don't know who it falls under.
Well, the plaque there says the water, there's a big, wait a minute, now I'm confused.
We're talking about environmental.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
by
I'm sorry.
the first one.
Yeah, okay, I don't know about that one.
PCU.
It has a matching park sign to all of our other parks.
It has a matching city sign,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But I recall that we had taken that off when we were discussing this back in last fall, that wasn't part of our.
Well, I asked Terry, is there a reason, I mean, I know that in cities, there's a certain amount of land that's desirable to be considered parkland, a percentage, right? And so I don't know if having that makes us look better, because it adds to the square feet of our, or square acres or whatever of our land. I guess, I don't know.
Are
It
these
just
three
seems strange.
included in the 2040 comprehensive
They're in
plan?
the comp plan, they're not the park plan, the way I understood it, right?
That's what I thought
Okay.
too, but it's not.
But no, so I guess we need clarity. I guess I would just to keep the ball moving forward, I would put a footnote in there that we need clarification for what they are.
From who?
Great idea.
Well, in PCU, the Environmental Learning Center, they actually did give money for naming rights back. Do you remember that?
Way, yes,
And that did go to the park fund, I do believe.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And then,
So maybe they should be considered part of this whole scheme.
So we just need the city just needs to think.
because as I recall, when we were going through liaison pieces, I mentioned last fall about, should I go and solicit 4 different people for that area? And then we had some discussion and found out that it really wasn't under us. So now's our opportunity to decide, do we want this under us? Do we want Central Park under us? Do we want urban
Well,
ecology?
if in the comp plan, it needs to either come out of the comp plan or fall into our plan. It needs to go one of the places, so, that needs. I would say we'll table that, and that needs to be a discussion during the workshop, but just, let's put a footnote. In the script as we move it forward. And Jill, I'm making a big leap in decisions, but this all goes back to WSB, not you. Okay, good. Okay, so just make sure that we call that out someplace in there.
The other question in my mind is if Central Park is truly a park and we're considering that park land, that's part of that piece that's gonna be developed.
Yeah, last time I saw there was a drive-through on it.
Yeah,
2 weeks
so
ago.
if that's a park, can the city just sell our park? If it's truly the city's park, does that set a precedent for selling a park to be developed? I don't know. I know that's kind of silly, but.
No.
There was a proposal about, whole thing is building, there's gonna be a coffee shop in there with a drive-through.
Did you make a good point?
That was a
If
long
it's-
time ago. Is
if
that
it's
still
a,
in the works?
Like the Earth Environmental Learning Center is actually part of
I was
the
the one who proposed
amount
that
of parks.
coffee shop to go there and it was
Central
student
Park
run.
is.
And
What
it
does
was
that
run
mean?
by
Do we
students
lose-
out of
lose
Next
Central
Step,
Park? Do we
but
lose-
that was like 4 years ago.
All right. So we're gonna
So,
table,
yeah, I'll put a footnote that this needs to either come out of the 2040 or go into the park plan, and that will be part of it.
And it goes in, we can just follow a special preparation.
Yeah.
if it goes into the park commission, can you let us know so we,
Okay.
you know, because the reason is, and now we need to know
No, yeah.
liaisons and so forth.
And create a whole plan for
And
it.
the sign needs to be
And-
changed. Yes.
Okay.
And what is, and like Sue said, well, how does that affect the amount of park space we need to have? And should we be taking Central Park? All right, everybody good on that?
The next comment, just on for clarification, or, and their names.
Yeah, so that was their question, because there was a small neighborhood and neighborhood. And they were just wondering if, how you made those differentiations previously. And if we should just change it to neighborhood, and then if it's something like more like around an acre or less, we call it a mini.
Oh, yeah.
So that was fully confusing to us, and that, the naming came from WSB. The documents didn't go over to WSB with that on it, it came back to WSB. With the way they got, with the way they
But
were.
When it was
named and
Our
originally-
classified.
previous park plan had
It did.
large and small
Did it?
parks, yeah.
Regional and then,
Yeah, and so the one thing I changed is I took regional out entirely, because those are not.
Oh,
regional
really?
Classification.
They're not considered community.
They are community parks.
Oh, it's, okay, so you're just saying community is a different,
Yes,
it's the same thing.
yes.
Okay, got
What's
it.
a regional park?
A regional.
Regional park is run by like Three Rivers Park District, you know, the larger county parks.
Also the
Oh,
county,
okay.
okay.
That's not the way,
Okay.
that's
It's a
not the
city
way
county
WSB
thing?
defines it.
It changed for some, I remember.
Well,
reading it,
sometimes
like,
cities
when I first
can
started.
have regional
they
parks
changed
under their jurisdiction if it meets certain criteria.
Okay,
But
But
for
these don't.
example, Casey Lake, Silver, by your definition, those are community
Those are
parks,
community
not,
parks.
they don't meet the classification for a regional.
Correct.
Okay, and I remember back in the old plan that I first, worked on and was part of, they were called regional parks because they drew from such a broad area, but you're saying it's not, they're not regional parks, they're community parks.
Yeah, so Metropolitan Council has very distinct, how they, classify everything, and we have to follow that classification.
That's fine.
Mhm.
So let's, just for clarity, we have how many different types of parks within our system? We have community, the bigger ones, and then we have neighborhood, and then we have this micro park or.
Well,
the specialty.
neighborhoods can, it's kind of like subdividing them down, so sometimes people just lump all of them and
Oh.
just say neighborhood.
Okay,
I think these are, and did we do small neighborhood or just neighborhood?
I think we discussed just neighborhood, and if you wanted to like subclassify like the really small ones, for instance, if you wanted Central Park, under there, and it was like under an acre, we just put that as a mini park. But some cities just say, you know what, it's neighborhood.
so it's based on acreage.
But,
Someone
but,
name.
but neighborhood park can have a sort of a smaller park and a larger park within a neighborhood.
Okay.
They were gonna do canoeing, sledding, maybe do something with the hill.
So,
Some.
My
City wants to
guidance is to pose the question to WSB, because they're the ones that named the parks the way they did.
Mhm. And they're using standards.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
yeah,
as
it
long
should
as
be
all of
standardized.
the parks follow the standard food plan and everything is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we had the same conversation a year or two ago, we didn't understand what it was.
So specialty parks,
Yeah, those can still remain. in
they
the
can
special
remain
use.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So, sir, I would serve all the notes back from the planning commission back up to, and I don't think there's any one of us here that can defend what they did.
Okay. You Good on that? Questions?
Clear as mud.
Okay. Next one, Jill, please.
All right, bullet 1. They suggest the wording to be improvements in the city's parks, trails, open spaces when necessary for, just let you guys read.
Over our,
Yeah, it's more bringing from the language from their 2040 plan into the
Ah.
park system plan.
That's fine.
Mhm.
So that would be okay?
is that consistent with other cities that were coordinating this with the comprehensive?
It shouldn't meld,
Okay,
yeah. It shouldn't be like in conflict with one another.
well, thanks for all your clarification.
So then,
I'm so
Is
glad
it-
you're here, because when I read you
Yeah.
and stuff, I went, I'm.
Yeah, because we'd be completely asking you again.
so
Alright.
the comp plan portion, we use scroll down just a little bit. Is that out of our mission statement too? It's vaguely familiar. If it is, I just want to make sure that that then aligns with the mission and vision. I feel like that's part of something we reworked too,
Mission statement. Let me read it, what we had.
not the whole thing. but,
Blah, 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 blah.
It was the,
Yeah, I got the mission statement, it's only 2 sentences, they're 3 lines.
does that sound like the mission statement? There's, can we look at this for a
Action
second?
advisory capacity, the mayor, city council, and other agencies to sustain parklands, preserve natural resources, provide places for all
Well, it's-
people to gather, play, and engage in in activities that spark joy, promote health, well-being, community, and environmental stewardship.
It's the first bullet of the vision overview that says, quote, enhance and expand the parks, trails, and open space system to ensure that all have access to quality community facilities. So if we're gonna switch that to, I mean, does it make sense to then switch that here as well, so it all aligns? I don't know what the I don't know what the paragraph says in the,
Identify. To the end.
Candace, that makes sense. What do you want?
I will make, she'll be able to give me all the notes and all that.
Okay,
here, my biggest question is, so we're talking about aligning all of our documentation, right? And so if we're gonna change that in our park plan, and it makes sense to change it here, I wanna change it here too, so that it's all tied together, which is what we talked about at the very beginning of the meeting, making sure that all of the documents overlap and mesh in a way. So I don't know what my note is, other than if we're gonna switch that and it also then makes sense to switch it here, we should.
welcome back, Joe.
I had the-
You can email me and be like, I don't know what you're.
I know what you said, yeah.
I know what you mean.
And we
Why
can figure
could
that out.
Lisa been here one more meeting?
Okay, so number C.
Yeah, number C. If it's switched in the comp plan,
Okay.
does it then make sense to switch the vision overview bullet so that they align?
Candace, any input on that?
I will, if you will see
Without,
anything.
I don't know exactly what
Okay.
we're talking about, but sometimes, just so you know, that there will be like major goals, the major goals, but they go in the comp plan. And from there, sometimes the park system plans will have additional things. So they still fall in line with the same goal, but there might be a little bit more definitive.
Okay.
So for instance, if we're talking about, implementing or capital improvements or things like that. You can have like your own vision for the parks as long as it's stated the same basically in the.
Which is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, just making sure that we're saying, because it's like one is at the essence of the other.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, let's just say the same thing.
Okay.
All right, so all of these on here.
All of a sudden, you're moving around, it's like.
So this is for bullet green, establish timelines that enable the city to complete parks, trails, and open space improvements. Disperse the necessary funds in an orderly fashion. Recommend timelines to enable the city to complete.
That's just rewording, it says the same thing.
Yeah, so I don't know, you want her wording, keep it as is. Her wording. Establish timelines in an orderly fashion versus
In an orderly fashion versus.
Versus a 5-year guideline.
That's what we have in 1, 3, and 5 anyway.
That's mostly the same thing.
To take this recommendation or keep it as is?
Yeah, it seems fine. It seems less defined, like we have this 5 to 10
Yeah.
years, and there's no.
We've already done that anyway.
That's fine. I mean, I don't. see any problem.
I think that's a good idea as well.
Add a bullet?
Yep.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Second paragraph, so now we're looking here. Actually, I think we'll put it there.
You guys going down. Bottom,
Did I?
No, we said that.
Yeah.
You said that's
Yeah.
fine.
We're gonna keep it right.
All right.
So now we're looking at the one that begins most.
Yeah.
Okay. This is true. No. Oh, yeah, they're just saying, most of the improved, is she saying she doesn't like our paragraph because it suggests that all the equipment needs replacing and that now it's more currently what, I don't understand what she's saying.
Sounds like to me that she just wants it to make it noted that if we gotta replace swing, if there's a swing set there, we replace the swing set, but we don't add another swing set or a big.
Right, and I think what she's pointing out is that, it's about replacing, existing equipment opposed to adding. And this plan around, we're gonna be not only replacing, but doing new and, potentially new parks and amenities. Where before it was just kind of
Oh,
updating. I think she wanted to just add in that, adding.
So now we are gonna be adding.
if we wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So thumbs up on that change?
Sure.
Oh, that's one. Okay. what is- yeah,
Okay, so she's just saying there's different, it's not just the park fund, it's more.
Correct.
Which is good.
Sure.
Sure. Sure.
You're right.
She is good.
Yes, good.
She knows her stats and
Oh,
grammar.
So
That's a WSB thing, isn't it?
or second paragraph. So which one are we looking at? What paragraph begins?
So the first one on the right,
each for a second paragraph, and then
Is it the one beginning the natural question, or is it more simple?
Second paragraph.
Oh, thank you. That one, yeah.
What, Jim, you got too much excitement?
I should have
can't
commuted.
stand it.
Yeah, no, it's boring. I can't take it anymore.
And I told him the park and rec was fun.
Yeah. This doesn't seem familiar to me. Investigation parks.
Did you get to
So
read through
So
all
what,
this?
yeah,
Or would you like, 'cause I mean, it's-
yeah, I think that's.
So that
accurate.
looks like some of that is just taking more language
Mhm.
out of the 24 and kind of melding it in
The
there.
statement that parks
Can you
are
familiar with
important
something like
facets.
this? Is this more specific and then this is
This is, I feel like this is grammatical for WSB.
And
okay, looking at this?
I think this did come over from WSP. There's a lot of text that WSP wrote.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we defer to WSB on that one.
Yeah, I think that's, much.
That's a lot of like grammar and whatever that we,
So what was the recommendation that came out of DC?
Parks Commission.
Page 4, paragraph 2. There it is, I'm sorry.
The natural question.
So it just expands upon that whole thing and just adds a lot more of the same language coming out of the.
And that came out of the comp
And
plan.
they're putting it into that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm comfortable as long as it continues to tie back to the comp plan. Goes.
yeah, it's fine.
I don't necessarily know the author of WSP read a comp plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a sort of a better way of
Yep.
saying.
So we get all that type on.
Your document will be much
You know,
longer.
it's
Yeah.
so great when I put it on my desk and it's all one page.
So I would feel, if you still wanted to make some edits, to make sure it ties in, feel free to make edits.
I feel like this next one is very similar.
Yeah. And search, inventory, and research, it's just doing a little more.
Yeah.
extensive
Oh,
reading.
park.
Defer that to WSB.
Okay.
Okay. I'm thinking those who provided and put together again. We're okay to.
And usually we don't put that.
No, okay.
Usually you don't put what in,
Who,
who's giving you information.
Right.
Uh,
unless it's like, a thing at the front, like, acknowledgements, and then we list everything, but it's not something you put in the written. document.
Yeah.
Okay. You good with K?
Wait,
We're on
let's-
I.
We're on I. We're on I.
So we're okay
Well,
with
that's
that.
the way you're pushing ahead. That's why they elected us.
So,
So
Got
it
3
sounds
minutes.
like.
Get rid of that part, yeah. The,
So, is it,
The last sentence.
That it sounds like this we wouldn't do, that's not typical, but adding the additional information that you put here.
sure.
fine. So,
There's no need to say it is our hope and it's a city plan that's present. If we are to be it, it's clear based on the words refer. So those are just updates that you could do. And very all right with little changes like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Acknowledge the whole.
so J,
So this one is this paragraph right here.
the next one,
Wait a minute, where's
we
J?
need J, so if you can scroll down, there
Here
you
you
go.
go.
Second sentence is unnecessary, is our hope. If we are, yeah, can we see that paragraph that she wants to delete?
Is our hope
It is our hope.
By highlighting.
Oh.
Jill, did you work this all up? Nice job. Nice job, Candace, whoever, Lisa and.
So she's saying to be more
Yeah.
Yeah.
confident
it's not-
about it.
yeah,
We're not hoping that this is
Yeah,
what we're going to
This
do.
is what we're gonna do.
That's
This
what-
is
that's
more
what she's
official.
saying.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
You're good with the J.
Now can we go to Kate?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sentence merchants. Funding sources that are provided. Can someone please explain what she's trying to say there?
Oh, a table of funding sources.
That's what you want?
Yeah, so, and they're not gonna be real specific. So we can just create like little tables saying, these are potential opportunities in the future or partnerships. But it's not gonna identify. all the funding sources.
I was gonna say, that stuff changes so
It does.
frequently.
It
I would be
does.
really hesitant to put something like that in a document that's supposed to live for 18 years. Because you never know what's gonna pop up, what's not.
Right.
And that's a lot of,
We have too many resources right now. Park, the dedicated funds and the park fund, correct?
No,
Is there more?
yes,
Oh,
there are grant opportunities out there.
So can you show us the paragraph she's talking about? That one, okay.
do we need to define anywhere dedicated versus park fund versus grant, or is that assumed that everybody that deals with this knows what those three are? We need to define what a dedicated plan is and what we can do with that, what we can spend it on. No,
No.
Way too much detail.
I don't think
For
we
this document.
wonderful.
no, I don't think we
My
should
opinion anyway.
I agree.
put funding sources in there.
What is that?
Changeable thing.
Well, that's true. In 3 years, it could be gone, some of it.
So you don't want a table of all the funding sources and things.
Oh, no. I don't,
Is it an general overview or is it very specific or I can try to be general?
I don't think we need it. I feel like if somebody's really interested in figuring out what specifically is funding parks or something else, they can reach out to the city. That's that's my opinion. And when you're working with grant opportunities and things like that, it changes literally every single month.
I have no strong feelings about it.
It's not a hill I have to die on. If people would like a chart,
Are
that's
we
fine.
getting all the grant stuff or are funds normally coming out of a steady source?
They're coming out of our main steady sources. There's
Okay.
plenty of other opportunities.
Sure.
If you want to list all of the opportunities, I don't think
That
that's a
would
good
be,
idea.
right, that'd be too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But do we list just, here's what we normally get our funding from?
Well, and I think we mentioned that previously,
I thought we
in
did.
like in a couple of paragraphs up, we said it was specifically, or she said like, it used to be just the park dedication fund, but now it's general funds and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, sure.
All right, we good on K?
We only go to O, guys. We're doing good. You're 2/3 of the way through it.
Hey,
This reminds me of December.
Yeah.
Next time we're gonna string that. Okay. Urban ecology we talked about. Well, that was something we were gonna follow up with down the road, wasn't it? Whether urban ecology is ours still.
Oh, but that's not what this is saying.
No.
It's saying,
It
it's a paragraph below, for instance, and then they want to add urban ecology and access to downtown.
Because they're located along a regional trail, where you can draw in people into your community through
Okay.
those areas.
Sounds great.
I remember.
We good? M,
You typically don't do that.
Okay.
okay, then.
Well,
Are you talking about defining parks, because we sometimes will say this is a park that's appropriate for X, Y,
Sometimes. Yeah.
6 and younger or something like that. We'll sometimes define our parks in that way.
On our playgrounds are specifically made, according to age brackets. So they have preschool age brackets and they have elementary age brackets. And I think they were getting at, oh, maybe we should call it the equipment of, okay, we have a pre-K structure and we have elementary stuff, or we have,
Those are the two main breakdowns.
yes.
You want that in there?
So you're saying that's fine if we take the age groups out of there.
No, they want to add them in.
They're saying, hey, point out that these are elementary and point out that these are.
They say,
But unless you want to go around and determine what's what.
So we don't have that information on
We
hand.
don't?
On new playgrounds, it's posted, like at Coward, it says this playground is for ages 5 to 12. But I don't know if we have that on our
We
new,
don't have them posted, but we have talked about them before. We have design playgrounds around that idea.
Where before we never did, it was just whatever age.
Throw some things out.
Yeah. What's the reason for doing it?
It's required now. So when you put a new playground, you're supposed to have a sign saying.
Oh. And why?
It is, just so you know, it's supposed to be age appropriate.
So how would your behavior change then?
I wouldn't bring my preschooler to a, or I wouldn't bring my 2-year-old to a 5 to 12-year-old.
Right.
Then you're running risk, so you know.
They can't return.
And
I
you
mean, I
also,
could do it if my child is a hellion, but like,
yeah, but it does help the parent to know if a child is just like driving by, for example, what's the name? We call it baby park, but it's,
Joy Park
not
or the one
Not
by the
Joy-
lake.
Dorothy,
Dorothy
the
Park,
little
yeah,
one.
yep.
Is clearly your 12-year-old is gonna be bored there. But, it's clearly designed for younger people. And I think it kind of behooves us to be aware of, and define our parks a little bit and say, oh, this one has both, or this one's really geared toward. I think it kind of behooves us to do that because then we can design our community so that it's not all about the older kid or we don't want to have, I don't know. Maybe we just do it amongst
if
ourselves.
I
as
pull
we're
up to the
planning.
park, I'm gonna make a decision as a parent whether I'm gonna use it.
I guess that's what and I have a grandchild who is incredibly small. And she played on playground way past the age we're talking about, you know what I mean? So would a parent, say you have a 10-year-old that looks like a 5-year-old, oh boy, then go to that park. You know what I mean? And I don't.
Are you saying it's required now though for all new parks, like a state requirement? What you said
It
was
is, it's
required.
kind of, it's called a CPSC.
Okay.
So whenever new playgrounds come in, they automatically just put signs in saying that it's appropriate.
So we don't have to do the current parks?
No.
Okay.
Is there anything, is there a benefit in having it in a park plan?
Maybe for you, just so to understand if you're have enough for the older kids or have enough for the kids.
Well, that could probably be,
Okay, who would ask that? Met council?
No,
No?
no.
No, but I could see a
Okay.
parent who's new to North St. Paul looking up parks, and if we had a class, like they've never been here before, and they're like, I have a 2-year-old, where can I bring them to play, instead of having to like drive around and find all of the parks. But
They're not
that's
gonna
a-
look at the park improvement plan to find that.
No,
No,
not the
that's-
park improvement plan, I'm talking about like on the website or
Yeah.
whatever.
And that would be, that would be some, I think something that's just a handy template type of thing. Is it necessary? in the park plan?
You want the age groups in? No? No. Okay,
Nor do I know who's qualified to determine that.
Yeah.
That would probably be another
Well,
WSD thing.
when we buy the equipment, it's pretty clear. When we're working with landscape structures, there are certain pieces of
multiple-
equipment
yeah,
that are
multiple.
designed for older or younger.
But there's multiple structures in each location.
Yeah, but we have designed parks. We have, I don't know that we need to define it in our document at all. I'm just saying it's kind of something to keep in mind. So
For
that
our-
we have
for our
balance-
future work.
balance in our parks.
Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, the only reason I can see doing it so that if you're going to, you can look and say, oh, no, all of our parks are for this age.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the reason.
We
I
want to
can see.
avoid imbalance.
we good on him? And
I think it's important information that we bring into future conversations, I don't think we have to put it in this
Yeah.
plan.
I
Our
don't think-
website.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
and
We already agreed on that.
Do that. Oh,
The Met Council kind of sets that, those definitions. There you go.
we'll look for it now.
Okay, this is all of this right down here. Right.
Did we change Fuller Park 2020?
Yeah,
That was just last.
well,
Years ago.
So I.
but we didn't finish the ADA trail until last year, I believe. Huh?
Where is Fuller Park?
Where's Fuller Park?
It was officially kind of a little, yeah.
The one that has the steep cliff off the back edge of it?
No, that's
No.
Colby.
Oh, okay.
That's Colby.
Fuller's tucked in,
Oh,
by,
off of
It's
Ignite.
not, it's
Yeah.
between you and me,
It's
it's between your house and my
Yeah.
house in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
it's, you go down Helen and if you,
I can take you
it's
there.
tucked in by.
Where's your?
You know where the Redeemer,
Oh,
what is
yeah.
it, Redeemer?
Yeah.
You know where Redeemer Lutheran Church is?
No.
Okay, it's the, what's that, up 17?
you
Oh,
guys
County
do-
Road,
It's
County Road,
17.
17, isn't it 17, County Road?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Redeemer, it's on the other side. Fuller Park is on the other side of, across the street.
No, I remember now.
It's tucked in, it's like,
I know exactly where it is.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I just don't know the street it's on. I can't remember.
Officially?
Shawnee is one.
Shawnee is
north
one.
side.
Not
Okay,
really,
so-
that's street.
in the interest of time,
I did check with Public Works when I said, when was Fuller Park done? They did say 2 years ago. I don't know if it was the equipment or.
It was the equipment, but I think it was some of the equipment, not all of it.
Right, and
the path didn't get done till last year.
Right, and the path.
So we moved through and what was the decision? I'm sorry.
Is there a water tower there? Is there a big
And we
tower?
decided we
That's
already
tower,
talked
that's
about.
tower.
So we're just gonna wait for WSD.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
our kitchen
Yeah.
up more?
Yep,
You have to park at the street and walk away to get back.
I don't know if I've ever been there.
And it's-
Okay.
yeah.
Surrounded by
It
homes.
kind of tied in with the other one.
Yeah, perfect.
Was it Shawnee, you said? Yeah.
I never knew that park was there until about 20 years. Oh, I know, it's really hidden back there.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
it's-
it is very nice.
The question that she's asking though is like, it's put in as a short-term project to do the playground again. If part of it was already done in 2020, is this remain?
Should we just say finish?
What's undone the past? What was left?
At
undone?
the time we were doing this, I think we were putting a short term, because it was almost done, but now it's done.
Is it all
So
the
what do
way
we
done?
call- Huh?
Is it all the way done?
The path is done, the playground
What we
equipment.
were gonna do is done. Okay.
Is
Yeah,
there another?
Just not
portion
to
of
the master plan, so it was just a path to the playground
yes,
and then some of the playground equipment, but don't, like, the entire plan has been done.
The entire thing hasn't been done. So
So the trail doesn't connect all the way to the other.
I was gonna say, I thought they were supposed to be.
The
so you could Go to
citizens-
the south.
citizens
Yeah.
didn't want that.
Yeah, we didn't put in the playground equipment in there.
I thought
Put
it
a
was
swing in there.
Swing
Swing
in
in
there.
there, yeah.
And when we
That
had the
wasn't a
community
whole
meetings,
replacement.
the public did not want a road all the way through because they were worried about traffic going back and forth. So we made sure it was ADA appropriate to the playground. And we decided we picked Shawnee as the access point. The neighbors go, no, I don't want a road going all the way through the park. All it will do is create traffic. Okay, so,
So how would it be worded in the park plan?
in the park plan,
If the path is done, does it just have remaining playground equipment to be updated or partial equipment?
It says here play equipment replacement in the inventory sheet.
I thought that was done.
Estimated costs are in
We didn't do the
$20-21.
playground?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Probably done.
Maybe some of them.
Oh, we never finished it all?
Swing.
Haven't been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say, I think it's finished. And then we'll
Well,
find out.
hold on, Larry, go ahead.
I'm not sure if we did everything.
That's
So it could be a short term.
It could be short term, but it's partial. Sure.
finish.
Still finished.
Let's finish.
Okay.
That is fine. Housing located near downtown is
Yeah.
fine.
Rotary doesn't include the rest.
I did update that in the
Okay.
thing, so those
The
were
downtown.
20.
I actually thought we caught that. in
That was
December.
a-
Maybe not.
That was
And it's 2020, because we had our August meeting then.
Right?
Wording similar to, oh, okay. Yeah, but Colby, the vacant lot is considered part of Colby according to.
And
us.
nobody wants us to do anything with it.
We flooded it this year.
We did.
Skating, it's a skating rink right now.
I saw people on it. actually.
You notice people are skiing more
Wording similar to that.
today. but-
So what is our wording on country? club?
That's the one, I don't know where it is.
I think it's just.
Planted
Oh,
by
oh,
the
oh,
Lakewood, and
Okay.
it looks like a lot that a house should be on.
No, I know what it is.
No,
That's-
I'm asking.
My son, my Southwood Trail.
No,
No,
no. If you go down,
just like,
if you go down beyond the water tower northwood, go and you run into this little lot that's in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And it can't be, and the neighbors wanted to buy it, but the city said no for whatever reason. We even wanted to think about selling it as a house, to put a house on it, but it wasn't big enough for a house.
And all the equipment was removed probably, what, 5 years ago, maybe?
That's why I never found it.
So there's
Yeah.
nothing there right now.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, it's just this little,
So can somebody find what she's referring to when she says could be added, wording similar to that for country club? What is the wording that she's referring to?
the small neighborhood part, according to this.
Plans. We don't have any improvement plans. Can't do anything.
That's all there is
It's
to
about
that.
evaluate current community need prior to implementing new park amenities.
Play structure has been removed, open green space remains.
And so that's.
So maybe just the same wording of, just confirm with the community before making
Maybe not under where the park is, but what the plan is to do with them, and the
But wouldn't that be assumed that if we did anything with that lot, which is tied into Colby, we consider Colby Park, that we are obviously get community input anyway. So we have to anyway. Right. 300 feet. Yeah, 350 feet, yeah.
I don't see how they, are similar. It says.
No, because Colby
just the
Colby
open
Park,
lawn.
Colby Hills. Oh, I remember they wanted to but no, they wanted to stop the road up, dead ended, and
Oh,
that didn't go over well either.
Right.
So I've always assumed that Colby Hills, that lot was part of Colby Hills. And Country Club, just Country Club.
So we can just say, no, thank you, we don't wanna,
we
I
don't wanna
would-
change.
yes.
we're not changing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for playing.
You're so polite.
Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback. I will not be changing it.
Oh, boy. Accessibility.
I don't. Anytime we put anything in new, after whatever that step, whatever year, I can't remember what year it is, it has to be ADA compliant. It's just a given. We're not gonna go back and fix things. They'll get changed as we move
Change.
forward. So I don't think that's,
Take that out.
So take out that.
And we
Yeah.
discussed that.
Yep.
Agreed that.
It's not like we're looking at a site.
it's like
Yeah.
at the forefront of
Yeah,
what we're
exactly.
doing, yeah. Yeah, so anything that's out
I
of
would put-
compliance,
That, I would put that writing in our improvement plan, that's then the plan moving forward.
say that again.
Jill's writing it down, I wouldn't necessarily say, I wouldn't write that in the improvement plan, but that's our guide. That's our guide, we have to see.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need it in the plan because it's really
Right.
just.
Yeah, I just say,
Oh, it's a
so, like,
Right.
we're not gonna do anything with that.
Okay.
It's a part of our work already.
Anticipated life.
Yeah,
that is helpful.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a
Example.
part of the one that we did before. The
One of
last,
the recommendations is to actually get a management and replacement plan that you just have. And so that just keeps track
Yeah.
of everything you do, the year you put it in it, and it projects it out from like.
Every
10,
That makes a
20
lot of
years,
sense.
yeah.
The
That
swing
makes-
set is a
Yeah.
25-year item, you
Yeah.
can't change. it.
Right.
The slide is a 20-year.
That makes a lot of
That
So
sense.
sort
it's
of thing.
basically a schedule
Mhm.
of each
Mhm.
park.
Just
We
automate it.
basically have that, it's just been formalized.
Exactly.
It's just what?
Right.
It's not
It's
formalized.
formalized.
So we need to.
And moving forward, we'll know that Polar Park was done here and we can look it up. Because in the past, it's been, well, when did we really do this? When did we really do that?
We have to take it out of the person's mind, the like Keith's mind,
Yeah.
and we have to
Yeah.
put it on paper, basically.
Okay.
That's not all of it. But yeah, it's one of those things that you have as part of your operations and maintenance. So staff has a whole spreadsheet. And then that way it projects out, so you know, in 10 years from now, oh, look, we're gonna have a bill of such
Yeah,
and such.
right.
just doing
Yeah, that makes
this.
It really takes the decision out of this. It's
Yeah.
just gonna put it automated.
Yep. Then we don't have to go through the whole spreadsheet priority mess we have to go through.
So, yes, where was that information coming from?
That's a good question.
Is there, is
Yeah,
there,
send
is there an overall guideline
Where's Keith's
that
head?
averages the
It
price
wasn't
of?
Keith's head.
Each
but-
one is different, yes. yeah.
Did you say there's like a program? Does WFD have that? Like,
It's like an Excel sheet that can be put
That'd
together.
just be something that I'm sure finance would put together on Department of Rec. We've got all, between the packets, we've got everything. It's just, and the years that it was.
Just consolidate.
I've seen the documents, I guess I just don't know where they are, and it's just never been put together. So I think it's a phenomenal idea. Just,
Yep.
and especially as we have conversation with council, it's like, hey, here's our recommendation, here's what we want to do, here's what we need to do. So this sheet becomes the needs, and so you can separate the needs and the wants.
And it'll help down the road for us who are still around in 10 years or whatever, to say, yeah, this has been 10 years. Or that now we know
Yep.
that
And
Polar
as,
was done in 2020 and it's been 10 years.
and as staff changes and people change, that
Yeah.
doesn't remain
Well,
consistent.
yeah.
well, that's why, yeah.
Is there a who has these recommended numbers of a swing set lasts this long?
They vary.
Yeah.
We fired Keith.
Plus- plus-
Um,
So I mean, does Met Council, is there a?
Is
No,
there a-
it just depends on like what you're buying. So for
Specific
instance, if
to
you buy a certain structure, they're like, okay, we have,
So
So who
landscape.
has to
Yeah.
define these? is what
Like
you're
a
saying.
swing.
Right, how-
What's
Yeah.
the lifespan
Look at
of a
these numbers.
swing?
yeah, so 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
But you're saying from this point on, not not going backwards, right?
Well, it would make sense so that if we know
Whatever
we
you have
put
for
something in
data.
2010,
I would,
We
at
should
some
be able to
point,
do everything.
inventory everything
really,
and date it.
right?
That would be ideal, but what we can control for sure, 100% is now going forward, any investments we make go into that spreadsheet,
Mhm.
and whatever data we can get from previous is wonderful.
There you go.
But it's like now our standard that we're tracking it.
But somewhere it must have been written down.
No, he's
It
saying,
is.
he's
It
saying.
is.
it's all in the
I've seen
packet.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's every, yeah, we have
it
it.
was written down. It probably, this whole thing probably started 10 years ago. With Deb, not Deb, there was 1 or 2 interns. And we sat down and we went through all the parks and we labeled all the parks. And it ended up several years later into this.
I probably have that document.
I still have
Yeah,
it.
records. I should
And
know.
what happened is we based it on how they thought we were supposed to do all of this. And then we had this whole park plan and we thought this was the way it was supposed to be. And then we found out that how we were doing it was not tied in with the comprehensive plan.
There you go.
So now we're getting in connection with the comprehensive plan. So moving forward, we won't have to do this in 2 years again.
There you go.
But it- yeah, but I really do want all of
Been
it.
here too long.
I don't want to do it. I don't want our commission to have to do it.
All
but I
right.
do want all.
We
of
good on
this
that?
information.
So who is,
Okay.
I mean, who would?
All right, moving on.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
City staff.
Is that it?
Nancy, you should, do you have all of your stuff from all of your time here?
No,
But you
if
have
I
a
would,
lot.
you know how many years that was?
Well, I know, that's what I was saying, can like,
5 or
can we
something.
take what you do have and scan it in
Sure,
Yeah.
somewhere?
when the treasurer,
all
what's her
in
name, was here, I gave a lot of my stuff to her and I never got it back. So I don't-
That's my work too.
Treasurer, what's her name? You know, that lady.
That predates me.
Couldn't we go
Before Jason
through
or with Jason?
at a future meeting and just run through the parks?
It's all been 10 years.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, everything's been
Janie-
done.
Janie-
We don't,
like-
we don't have to do that, but we can
Let the
get a
city,
hold of these documents. that if there's
yeah,
somewhere.
okay.
I mean, everybody's done inventory. I mean, everybody's done inventory of the park, so we've got a list of inventory. Then it's just a matter of digging back through city record
Mhm.
to see when each item was put in place.
And
then-
Sarah would
and then
know
they can
about
build it
Janie's,
forward.
and then we can look up,
But
Casey
I
Lake
don't think
Pavilion
I
and-
don't think we have to.
no,
document
no.
all of that.
City's
What I
got it,
say.
city's got it all, because they paid for it, so there's
Yeah.
gotta be in a
Mhm.
financial record someplace for POs and et cetera. It's
All
not gonna be, it's a great job for summer intern.
Mhm. Yes.
Go ahead, Joe.
And, yeah, okay. Other than the question or the recommendations or the modifications that we just went through, are there other questions for me based on
Oh.
how I change things in terms of conclusions, implementation approach and priority?
Can you repeat your question? I was reading, I'm sorry.
In the plan, so I changed things up a little bit, added a little bit more information at the end, you know, rather than just talking the paste and stuff over. But I reorganized and changed a few things in the implementation approach, in terms of like 0 to 5 or 5 to 10, those types of things.
So I have one.
I think this is a whole new process for most of the people on this commission. Correct me if I'm wrong, but most of this is a whole new process.
Okay.
Based, and thank you very much for educating us. We're all just a bunch of silly volunteers.
One of the recommendations I did make was that maybe you complete an actual needs assessment of the community to help you prioritize moving forward.
We did that.
We did that by
Yeah.
heart.
No,
the
like
community.
based on like neighborhood service areas and
did it.
demographics.
We did. As a part, that was a part of the survey that went out,
We did that pre-pandemic.
yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. There was a whole section on parks.
Okay, for the service level and everything?
I don't know what that means.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
So what does that mean?
All right, so just to give you an idea of like the things that we look at when we go out to a park is we say, okay, so for instance, here is Colby Hills. We look around at the half-mile service area and then identify barriers, and that kind of breaks up your city into neighborhood with service areas. So you know who's being serviced by that park and who's not. And then from there, you understand the demographics of who lives within that service area in relation to what amenities are at that park. So based on how dense, how many people live in that area, how many of them like are broken down by age, income levels, those types of things, minority populations. That helps you understand like which areas or which parks are not servicing to the highest level for the people in your community. And then that helps you prioritize, okay, you know what, we have like 3 high needs parks, but of those 3, based on our assessment, this one is the most because it's servicing like, you know, a much higher population. And it may not have enough amenities for those people who live there.
So it's formalizing the assumptions that we made when we go out and assess.
Sue?
How do you gather the demographic information? You can't just look at a house and say there's.
We have a computer programs that do that for us. So they're GIS based, we can draw boundaries within that area. And I can break down what your income is, what the minority population is, the housing density, all of that.
So
That's
where
a
does
great
that-
tool to share.
Yes.
Did you,
So,
You're holding back all the toys.
for other cities I have.
so where does that information come from?
Actually, real
Census
realtors.
numbers or how,
Yeah.
where does that information come from?
No, but it actually, it's GIS based and everything, so it pulls all the current data from that area.
What's
But how do they
GIF?
get that data?
It's the survey. It's the-
How do they know that I have 4 month families that live in my neighborhood? How do they know that?
I would have to look at how they do that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it's
says
turned
this,
all the
right?
time.
Yeah.
That's
these
what
all
I
fit.
just sent it, and she said no.
It might be part of it.
How do, that would be, I think that's a wonderful plan. I'd love to do that. Can we put that on one of our
Down the-
meetings in the future
Down the road.
about how we do that?
And then have
Yeah,
Candace
that's
come in
right.
and
Get back to that.
teach us how to.
Just looking at from my point of view, it's just I see a lot of redevelopment of these areas.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, your housing density is going up and your population is going up and you have enough for those areas where all this new housing is to accommodate that. you know?
Well, I know somebody who,
No, we don't. We need a
We need a
downtown
downtown
park, which is what
park.
we've been saying this whole time.
yes,
Well, I think that's how it should be done. In my mind, exactly what you're saying.
Mhm.
But I'm still curious as to how who gets those numbers and puts them where they're supposed to be.
Is that something you guys do for cities?
Mhm. All the time.
Yeah. that's valuable.
all right. Anything else? Anything else for Candace?
Well, we still have the minutes to go through if you want her to, it's kind of the same.
Oh,
thing. There's
okay.
still more from the
Got it.
commission. And a lot of them will be repeats, so I tried to go through and at least just pick up the ones that maybe, we needed to look at. So the first one down here is something about a retaining wall. Where did the last part of this one? Why did I put retaining wall?
Oh,
Is
this
that
is what you're
right
talking
there?
about.
Colby Hill?
Cooler Hill,
It's at the bottom. There, right, just next one down is the retaining wall.
this one?
Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
So I did get kind of a quote, so if we wanted, because I think one of the comments was to put that in the plan as one of the items underneath Colby Hills, so we can add that.
that's probably on the north side and maybe the west side.
We just did.
There's a
We put
fence behind the
we put
playground.
Playground in there.
Yeah, because right behind the playground, it like dropped, there's a steep drop off,
Mhm.
but we put something there. I feel like we did a chain link.
I don't know. what-
The chain link's been there a long time.
Has it?
Yeah, it's really old.
Yeah, it's very old.
So it might have been, I don't know.
And I
Robin-
know along the alley, it kind of like you said, Laura, it goes boom, and that's the north side. And the west side, kind of somewhat accessible. I mean, I talked about accessibility over there too, but what are we gonna do with that one?
Do we want to add that onto the Colby Hills, like total of all the things that were going on?
I mean, sure, but none of us
Does
know
that go
what.
in-
I don't know
They're
what
talking
they're
about.
gonna have somebody
don't know
look
what
at that again.
But does that go into the PIP? Does that go into the document that needs to go in front of council?
I don't know.
No,
I don't, that's a maintenance issue.
Okay.
Again, this is an opinion of one, so.
Well, we've been there a couple times and I didn't notice it. I don't know.
no, I don't think
Yeah.
it's an approved, I don't.
I think we note it and we should put it on there and, but I don't know necessarily know if that needs to go into the park improvement plan.
All right, so we don't worry about that, correct?
Yep. Not the
Okay.
plan. A lot of them, I think they were already,
we already discussed about
yeah, just discussion. Let's see, the next one I had was page 49 of 170. There's no mention of Casey Lake water quality and aerator.
But we decided we weren't involved in that. Or were
Would
we?
that be part of the park?
I don't think that should be in the park plan at all. That's not, that's
I think the
something,
city maybe.
a city name.
well, to me,
Yeah.
it's the water.
It's a watershed city.
Yes,
all
because
that-
it's so,
that kind of
everything
conglomeration.
overlaps, yeah,
It's
And
not
as I
like we could do
recall,
anything about it.
exactly.
as I recall, when Jim was in here, we talked, after Jim left one time, we talked about that, but this is just a courtesy thing that they come to us to talk about the quality, but that wasn't really in there.
Yeah,
All
Or
right.
having authority.
right, so
Yeah,
that
we
shouldn't
don't
go
have
in the
to.
plan,
It's
because
like,
we can't do anything.
Silver Lake, once you get off once you get into the water, you can't be nothing about it.
This should say, I think we already took the care of this one. It is just a chart that they still have them labeled as regional park and so she's just saying to
Oh,
update
I
that.
need that from you, so
Yeah, that one's just for you.
all the charts I don't have access to, so those have to be provided.
chart thing that was in there? Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's Lisa thing?
President, so I'm gonna end on this one last time, fairly confused the hell out of me. So WSB changed the park names at one point in time. But-
Yeah, but one of the charts, it was like a PDF, it was like an image of an old chart from your old plan.
Uh-huh.
So that still said regional park instead of community park on it.
So what's our comp plan say?
They're called community parks in your comp plan.
Okay.
Yeah, but they just wanted it changed on the chart, but I don't have access to the chart.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
So-
can change.
Because I'm going with whatever, if what is in our documents different than comp plan, then we gotta go back to the plan, I don't know, it's the comp plan commission. Somewhere along the line, just like Elaine pulled everything out that our acreages didn't match, we probably just need to make sure that whatever we call them matches. Okay. I'm done
We'll
now.
get them to match, we'll get them to match.
Okay. Anything else on that?
No, that was the age group again thing for the next one being the,
Yeah, we discussed that.
okay, those were.
And I think that's a great follow-up, and I think that we probably have documentation somewhere with the new equipment that we purchased, what age groups they fall to, and that would be great documents to build on each park as we move forward.
Okay. This we talked about, we're just not even sure
Yeah,
if there are
That we
parks.
dealt with.
yeah.
Okay.
And I have no idea what they said.
Something about being shown incorrectly on the zoning map. I didn't even see a picture of that in there. And 58, I think, was part of the packet in the agenda, so it doesn't match up with the park plan. I tried to find it too. I mean, if it's incorrect on the zoning map, we should fix it. but- And then the last one that, everybody okay if I put the acre counts in there?
Sure.
And the only other one I saw was page 11. Specialty park. She added both rotary and ecology. That they should
Also,
be-
why is it called an ecology center when there's no building or education happening?
I've never understood that.
Me either.
It's got a little storm. The ecology.
I think it goes
But it's the center.
way back.
There is a really nice, it was a really nice sign. I mean, it's like.
Big kiosk and it's all faded out.
If you can't read it.
And you're saying that was
Yeah.
educational?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I think of that as like a nature center.
Yeah.
Like when I moved here, I was like, oh, and I went looking for a building.
And it was bigger at one time.
Got it.
So,
Before building was done in that area, it was bigger.
She requested-
she wants those to be called specialty parks, Rotary and urban ecology. And what do we refer to that as?
Well, didn't that go
Kansas,
back? to-
Kansas gets to call it what she
Yeah,
wants. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yep,
You call it what you want.
we'll give you discretion.
Let's see, and fourth bullet point. So on page 11, Rotary Park is the only one mentioned as being the trail by the Gateway Trail.
Oh.
Where she thinks the other two should also be
Oh,
included.
Okay.
They do have access.
So,
That's a good,
yeah,
good
okay,
catch.
so that one's okay. So those are the only ones that I noticed through the minutes that would have had a change in that. Okay.
Now you just hand everything back behind you and you're done.
I just got kind of in my right. How do you feel about the plan? What's next?
I think,
Are we
is
good
there
with the
one more
plan?
bullet under? Oh, this
It
is
was kind
around
of
the,
conversational,
okay, perfect.
explaining some perspective.
So it's my understanding correctly that we don't have to make any more changes. We've done our homework. Candace helped me out, Bill helped me out. The next step is to go to city council for approval. And then we're done. And we start, and then we can plan. Can you mention to city council that?
Except
once
I
this
think
is
it has
approved,
to
we can start?
Edited and then back to city council, doesn't it? Or does it just show the changes that?
We approved it. We're not gonna edit it no more, except for what she's done. What we just talked about.
So in December, they had a meeting that approved the plan
Yep.
itself. These were just comments from the planning commission,
We're
which you guys
adopting
now
some- we're
approve.
adopting several other revisions.
And
So
then
we don't have to have approval, we don't have to have the planning commission
they
say.
don't need to look
Okay.
at it
No.
anymore.
We're done.
Nope, we're
Okay.
done with them. So it goes to city council.
So I would assume that with Kansas and team get it.
Kansas.
Kansas and team get it,
You're not the first person.
yeah. Get everything all put together. What's your timeline look like on that? A week, a month, a year?
A year, maybe like a month just to get everything. Like I said, I'm missing some tables and everything, and if you are not able to get those updated and over to me, then we'll have to. restate them.
Joe, you need
I
help
will do
digging
that
through that?
tonight.
No, you won't. Joe, you got,
I had
I can
requested the 15th of February for her to be at the. How do you think that's gonna work? That would be what, 2 weeks? Maybe? How do you feel about that? Should we put it to the next one? That would be March. Okay.
can you email us, let us know,
Yeah.
and then we'll all, some of us wanna come and so forth.
Yeah.
Because I would say, do you want one last, once it's done, do you want to just read it all on your own and at the meeting, all it is brought to a vote? Because there have been revisions and tweaks made. since it's originally approved.
Candace says yes. So once it goes
But not if it
before council,
delays that.
after council?
Well, WSB's got to complete it first, then one final revision,
Okay,
and if you wanna, and then it's just either the next meeting or if you want a quick special meeting. I don't think it's gonna happen before February 15th.
can you have it done before the February 23rd meeting?
Mhm.
Okay,
That's our meeting.
that's our meeting where we
So
can look
so
at
then
it.
it would go to the first meeting in March or
You okay with that?
Is council, does council then have the opportunity to ask for revisions, or are you just approving?
I got no idea.
They can do whatever.
They can do whatever they want.
Usually you're just asking them to approve and adopt it, and then it just becomes an appendix to the 2045.
And are you,
Okay.
and you're coming to the meeting, right?
I will check my calendar.
Wonderful.
Laura, in response to that statement, I think Nancy can attest to this. We had the, when we did the Casey Lake thing,
Mhm,
we had it all nicely lined up.
mhm,
And then it went to city council. And then it came back.
mhm.
which was really- So we may have to tweak something here or there.
But can we take action without finalizing city council revisions?
What do you want to take action on?
No, it's a theoretical, like,
Yes, you can,
okay,
but like, pick one. And I've said this the whole way. If we want to get started on housing, get a proposal for the housing.
that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying,
Then my apologies, I
I'm
misunderstood.
trying to understand the timeline of our process. Like, are there any more hurdles that we have to jump through that allow us to no longer take action? Just, or that would allow us, so we can start taking action?
I would say once city council says it's good. It's good.
And what type of action are you referencing?
Money, like, so this whole year has been like meeting the checklist that we need to meet in order to do the things that we wanted to do, the plan, our timeline plan, or that spreadsheet we went through, right? And I'm not familiar enough with the bureaucracy to know, like, if tomorrow we decided we wanted to take action on housing or buy a parcel for downtown parks or whatever, can we do that?
Yep.
Or does city council need to give us their stamp of approval
No.
and it needs to look exactly how they want it to look?
Item by item, you can move forward.
Okay.
They're just not gonna give. So the 1, 3, 5 year plan has
Mhm.
been in council twice, and I stamped it down both times. They're not gonna rubber stamp everything.
That's not what I'm asking.
That's our plan. That's the Park and Rec plan to move forward, but they all have to move forward in individual items. So
Right.
if whatever is the top of the commission's priority list, that can go in front of council.
Right, because what we were hearing before was council wouldn't move anything forward until we had a park improvement plan.
Right.
And then we needed our mission statement and whatever other stuff. So now we have all the things.
Yep.
And we can say, or we can try to move something forward.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? You good? If we didn't need Candace or anything else? Candace, you can stick around.
We only have one more thing left.
Yeah, we're
so-
gonna be on your, I will.
Jill, if you need help digging through stuff, you can holler.
Okay. Am I digging this
You need help digging through stuff, finding stuff that Candace needs.
That financial aid office.
Yes, I will definitely.
We
If
can
I
set up
need
a
help
time
with
and a
anything,
date.
I'm
Right,
gonna
so
reach out.
Tina lives in Newark. Where's Candace from?
WSB, engineering.
I didn't know that
She's from
either.
Kansas.
She's from Kansas.
You know, Jill said it, but we're all wearing masks, so I caught it. You said it at the beginning, I think. When you
I
introduced-
missed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I had you with the.
Casey Lake.
With the
that's
park,
right.
I had you with
Oh,
the
no,
park commission until about halfway through this conversation.
Planning commission,
What
that's what I
about
thought. I was
WSB?
like,
What about
uh,
the- you know, WSB?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was Casey Lake.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for being
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Candace. Anything else, Jill, on C? The review, we're good on the review, right? Do we have to do anything on the mission statement
Here, hand me your mouse.
that we haven't already discussed with, Candace and so forth? Is the mission statement good?
Mission statement was approved.
Okay,
This is what we're talking about now, right?
That's
This?
Where's the mission?
Great. We've talked about that at nauseam.
okay. Old business. Oh,
Thank you.
hard copies. Bring your own hard copy. You're gonna have it already sent to us. We're gonna figure out how to access it. Bring your own hard copies to the meeting, otherwise it'll be up on the screen
Of the agenda.
of the agenda and of the minutes. Yes. Any other old business?
And read through it, if you can.
Yep.
Beforehand, if you save time.
No old business. Reports from any staff. Reports from the commission or park liaison or park or city council.
I've got 27 things I need to cover. all I want to do is just reiterate my huge thank you again. This has been a learning experience. It's been very challenging. It's been very difficult. Jill quit us, or I'm sorry, no. Lisa quit us, we've got Jill.
Yeah.
But everyone in this room at some point in time, including myself, has gotten incredibly frustrated with the process. So
Not me.
I just want to thank everybody again for their patience and getting it done. This should have been a living document that we inherited, and it will be, fingers crossed, a living document going forward. And all of this heavy lifting hopefully shouldn't have to be done.
That
Tweaks
is
and
really-
revisions, yes.
That feels great for us long timers who have, it feels like every third year, it's like, where's your plan? I'm like, we just did that. So that feels great to hear that. Thank you.
And hopefully it won't be on just one.
We deleted everything.
Yeah.
Or
All
in
right.
a format that I can't find.
What do we
Yes.
got? What do we tentatively got on the agenda for next month? Yeah.
Is she
Here's
coming
a
in?
question.
We were
Yeah.
with Kathy and talking about, I asked Kathy to come prepared to talk about the possibility of paving trails at Southwood.
Oh.
Because
Nice.
she wants to talk about wood chips again. And she's kind of over it too. So, I asked her to come prepared to have that conversation with us and for us to come prepared to have that conversation. with her.
Jill, do you know where we have definition of what a nature preserve is? It's technically nature preserve. I don't want to get into deep discussion now, but can you find out what a nature preserve?
You could have asked Candace.
I should have asked Candace. Yeah, okay. So we've got Kathy. Is Carrie
I was
coming
gonna
in?
say, you emailed me.
Oh, it's the civic clerk.
Cause you,
And I will review that with her and see if that's something that you guys need a review on. I don't even know if you've even seen it or if it's something you would use, because the way I found the agenda tonight is so easy. I think that's where you guys are gonna go. You literally just go to the city website, get meetings agenda, brings it up, and you just click on the link and it gives you really everything we've been looking at.
that's all we need to,
And I don't know, I'll talk
we
to her.
used to have to log into something.
You still do, it's like the front end, it's like public facing
Yeah.
documents, that's what this is, and then the civic clerk is like the internal. But for our purposes, it's essentially the same. For city council, it's different.
I go
Wouldn't
in
you
the
say?
exact same way.
You do?
But Jill
maybe
sent
for
us a
city
link and I
staff.
clicked on the link and I was able to go in there without logging in.
Yeah, I just go to North St. Paul website, I get it different. I go to government and then government gives me a drop down to commissions and,
Mhm.
Isn't
but
that it?
either way, you get there the same way.
So basically, we're seeing the same thing that the general public does?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you click on that, boom, it brings you that, and then agenda file, that's the agenda, and everything that we were looking at was right there. Okay.
And everybody
Now-
understands that they have to notify ahead when they're going to be in person and or Zoom.
How far ahead? I didn't,
So I try to close it, the Thursday before the meeting.
And we should be notifying you?
You're gonna be sending an email out every time, right?
Yep, so Wednesday, I will send out the email, everybody just respond by Thursday, I'll put it on there, and then I'll post it.
Because apparently if you don't get decided which way you're going, you can't vote.
And when you say Wednesday, you mean the Wednesday preceding our meeting?
okay, so if you're like, I will be at Maplewood Library, but not here, then
I
you
would
would
put
say,
that on the top line of the agenda, so then you would be considered.
got it.
Anything else at this point?
And
And
you
just to build on that, now that we're no longer under a governor mandate, I think you can do that twice a year.
Okay. I mean, and
Right,
that was, I
that-
think, the other item on February is going over the meeting.
Okay.
Now that
Do
you
it
know that.
twice a year.
You can remote in up to 2 meetings a year
But you have
From
to be
a
in,
public space.
from a public space.
if you remote in from your house,
Do
you
you-
can't vote. But if you're like, I can't be here, but I'm gonna be at the library, you can still vote, but only if you do that twice.
Well,
And
you
I'm not
can't-
even
you
sure
can't
if you're
remote
remote in
from
from
your
your
house,
house,
huh?
you can talk. I think you
I'm sorry, what?
I don't even know for sure if you're remote in from your house, you can talk.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a legal question
Because
for.
Sarah wasn't able to.
Right.
Security.
So
Pardon me?
Jill, that's on the agenda for,
You're not
Okay.
present or you're not in the public place, so you're not part of the meeting.
Nancy, go ahead.
So Jill, do you want a response from everyone saying if we will be at the meeting or not, like we had to today?
You know what,
Or
it's just
just-
better than I can just check everything.
Okay,
I
or
know it's
just-
very redundant to say, I'll be there, but I mean,
No,
that
that's
way I
okay.
can.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Would you like us to reply all or reply just to?
No.
Just
respond.
Reply all is a
Just
violation of public meetings.
So we should reply, not reply all.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I want to clarify that because
Yeah.
it's not always that clear to me.
I
So
don't think everybody wants to.
in
Just
general,
Just remember, never reply all.
in,
Is there anything else
in
on,
life, period.
In life,
It's a great, it's a great thing to remember.
is there anything else on the agenda we want to have at this point? Obviously, Jill, you need agenda items by that Thursday before the meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So
You
really
got
that's
an
kind of-
agenda item you want to add?
Normally, I feel like we start talking about events in the winter, don't we?
Yeah.
And the yes,
Like the
so Heather
calendar.
wasn't here, I didn't bring up-
Well, then maybe it's a good time to
Yeah, so
That's
that
on
should go on
February
the
2.
agenda.
Start rolling on something. Okay.
And I did notice, Easter egg stuff, the egg hunt was on the March calendar, so that might be something for February also.
So we need to take that off, because that's not happening.
Yeah.
We were gonna do an
We
egg hunt, we were
talked
gonna
about that.
do,
Even a little while ago, yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna do something like, Sarah keeps talking about that, pay somebody to, like, egg your, or not egg
In
your
your
house.
house.
You know what I mean?
You could call it that.
Yeah.
Figure out.
There's one on Margaret and Southwestern.
Yeah.
So could you, so are you gonna take that off? Because we don't want people to think there's gonna be a hunt.
Yeah, you wanna take
It
it
was
off?
on the city's calendar?
So what are you gonna
No,
do?
it's just on the rental, I
Oh,
just go
oh,
through and reserve
oh.
Casey Lakes,
Oh.
the locations, I'll usually just go through and select.
Oh, that we might still want to have if we want to have.
With the egg,
Maybe keep the
yeah, keep it
rental going.
Let's keep going, we can talk and,
Yeah.
put it on the agenda for,
February.
February.
Mhm.
So we got Kathy, we've got, that'll keep it good, that'll keep it good.
Yes.
Anything else?
And then I would just strongly encourage, go through the priority list and pick what's the first project? It was housing, but let's start getting stuff in line to put front out for approval so that bids can go out, and things can start getting done and I'm gonna sneeze.
So,
Oh,
So you'll have, you'll be,
Yours
Jill, you'll be able to have a list
Right
of
there.
what we've approved and we can take a look at that at that meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Anything else? Motion to adjourn. Go, I'll jump ahead. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. I'll second that.
Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Very good, thank you, everybody.